I became a multimillionaire overnight and said nothing. I called my sister asking for $50 for groceries and she said, "Stop being so lazy and get a job." Subscribe and drop a comment saying where you're watching from. Let's see how far this story goes. My hands trembled as I stared at the email from Sterling and Cross Legal Group. Subject line: Estate Settlement, Urgent Response Required. I'd received it 3 days ago, convinced it was spam. But curiosity got the better of me at 2 a.m. on a Tuesday, unemployed and desperate, eating ramen in my studio apartment in Southeast DC. Mr. Anthony Deshaun Williams, we've been attempting to reach you regarding the estate of Elijah T. Morrison. The name hit me like a freight train. My biological father. The man who'd abandoned my mother when she was 6 months pregnant with me, leaving her to raise me and my older sister Vanessa alone in Baltimore. I hadn't seen him since I was 4, just fragmented memories of expensive cologne and a deep laugh. The lawyer's voice on the phone that morning was professional, almost bored. "Mr. Morrison passed away 4 months ago. You're the sole beneficiary of his estate, valued at approximately $42 million. I dropped my phone. 42 million. The number didn't feel real. It couldn't be real. I was 28 years old, had been laid off from my marketing job 6 months ago, and was down to my last $300. There are conditions, the lawyer continued after I'd picked up the phone with shaking hands. You must claim the inheritance within 90 days, and you cannot disclose the source of these funds to anyone until all legal proceedings are finalized. Violation results in forfeiture. I sat in silence for 20 minutes after hanging up, staring at nothing. The money hit my account 72 hours later. I watched the numbers appear on my phone screen. $42, $127, $493.67. I felt nothing. Then everything. Then nothing again. It was like watching someone else's life through a window. I walked to my bathroom and threw up, not from sickness but from the sheer impossibility of it all. My sister Vanessa and I had been close once, back when we were kids sharing a bedroom in West Baltimore, whispering secrets after Mom fell asleep exhausted from her double shifts at Johns Hopkins Hospital. But somewhere around her junior year at Howard University, things changed. She'd always been the golden child, straight A's, full scholarship, marketing executive by 25. She met her husband Kendrick at a networking event, and he made 6 figures in finance. Meanwhile, I'd struggled through community college, bounced between jobs, and never quite found my footing. Vanessa started seeing me differently. Her texts became infrequent. Family dinners turned into interrogations about my job prospects. Last Thanksgiving, she'd actually said, "Anthony, you're almost 30. When are you going to get serious about life?" in front of Kendrick's entire family. I needed to test something. The lawyer's words echoed in my mind, 90 days of silence. But I needed to know where I truly stood with the only family I had left. Mom had passed 2 years ago from cancer, and Vanessa was all I had. I picked up my phone and called her. "Anthony, I'm busy," Vanessa answered on the 4th ring. I could hear the click of her keyboard in the background, the hum of her home office in their Bethesda townhouse. "What do you need?" My mouth felt dry. "Hey, there." I was wondering, could you spot me $50? Just until.
$50?
"Anthony, seriously." Her voice sharpened with that particular edge I'd come to know well. "What happened to that interview you had last week?" "It didn't work out," I said quietly. The interview had been real, at least. They'd gone with someone else. "I just need groceries. I'll pay you back as soon as." "As soon as what?" "As soon as another job magically appears." She laughed, but it wasn't kind. "You know what your problem is, Anthony? You've never had to struggle for anything. Mom always bailed you out, gave you the easy path, and now that she's gone, you expect me to do the same." The words stung because they were so wrong it was almost funny. Mom had worked herself to death trying to provide for both of us. She'd missed my high school graduation because she was covering someone's shift. She'd eaten ramen so Vanessa and I could have real meals. It's just groceries. I'm not asking for. Stop being so lazy and get a job." Her words came out clipped, final. I'm tired of this, Anthony. Tired of the excuses. Tired of the sob stories. Kendrick and I work hard for our money. We can't keep supporting your lack of ambition. I sat frozen, the phone still pressed to my ear after she'd hung up. Supporting me? She hadn't given me $1 in 3 years. Not when Mom got sick. Not when I'd asked to borrow money for her funeral costs. She'd said they were stretched thin despite posting photos of their Aruba vacation 2 weeks later. My mind spiraled back to 6 months after Mom died. I'd been at their house for Sunday dinner, something Vanessa insisted on to maintain family connections. I'd mentioned struggling with rent, and Kendrick had actually laughed. Man, you've got to get your hustle up. This is America. Money's out here for anyone willing to work for it. Vanessa had nodded along, adding, Kendrick's right. You can't keep expecting handouts. It's time to grow up. I'd left that dinner early, humiliated, and hadn't been back since. That was 8 months ago. She'd called twice in that time, once to ask if I'd seen Mom's old pearl necklace that she wanted, and once to invite me to Kendrick's birthday party at some upscale restaurant where Aunt Reese cost what I spent on groceries for a month. I opened my banking app and stared at those numbers again. $42 million. I could have told her right then. Could have said, actually, V, I'm wealthier than you and Kendrick combined. But something stopped me. Maybe it was pride. Maybe it was hurt. Maybe it was the need to truly see who my sister had become when she thought I had nothing. I transferred $50 from my old checking account, the one with $300 in it, to buy groceries. I didn't need her money. I needed answers. 2 days later, Kendrick called. This was unusual. Kendrick never called me. We existed in the same space at family gatherings, exchanged pleasantries, but that was it. I almost didn't answer. Anthony, hey man. His voice had that false friendliness that made my skin crawl. Look, Vanessa told me about your situation. Listen, I've got a buddy who manages a warehouse out in Jessup. It's overnight shifts, loading and unloading, but it's honest work. Pays about $15 an hour. I can put in a word. $15 an hour. Overnight warehouse work. I had a bachelor's degree in marketing and 5 years of experience before the layoff. But this wasn't about the job offer. It was about the tone, the condescension dripping from every word, the implication that this was the best I could hope for. I appreciate it, Kendrick, but I'm still looking for something in my field, I said carefully. He scoffed. Your field? Man, you've been unemployed for 6 months. Beggars can't be choosers. This is good money, steady work. Unless you're too proud for manual labor. There was a challenge in his voice now, an edge that suggested he'd been waiting to say this for a while. I'm not too proud for anything, I replied, keeping my voice level. I just think I can find something that utilizes my actual skills and experience. Skills and experience don't mean much when you can't pay your rent, do they? He laughed. Look, I'm trying to help you out here. Vanessa's worried about you, even if she doesn't show it. But you've got to meet us halfway. Stop waiting for some perfect opportunity and take what's available. That's what adults do. After Kendrick hung up, not even waiting for my response, I noticed the family group chat lighting up. It was Vanessa, Kendrick, and me, plus Vanessa's best friend Tanya and Kendrick's brother Devon. They'd added them months ago, expanding our family circle. Tanya, just saw the cutest brunch spot in Georgetown. Who's down for Sunday? Vanessa, yes. We need this. Kendrick and I have been so stressed with work. Devon, I'm in. Bring your wallets though, Georgetown ain't cheaper. Kendrick, worth it though. Gotta treat ourselves for all the hard work we put in. Then Vanessa added, Anthony, you're welcome to come if you're free. It's $45 per person plus tip and drinks. The message sat there like a landmine. $45, almost exactly what I'd asked her for. The implication was clear. If you can't afford groceries, you certainly can't afford brunch with us. It wasn't an invitation. It was a reminder of my place in their hierarchy. I typed and deleted 3 responses before settling on, I'll pass. Have fun though. Tanya replied immediately, oh, Come on, Anthony. When's the last time we all hung out? Kendrick, he's probably busy job hunting. Right, Anthony. The passive aggression was suffocating. I muted the chat and set my phone down, but my mind was racing. These were the people who claimed to be my family, yet every interaction felt like a performance designed to remind me of my failures while highlighting their success. I thought about Mom then, really thought about her. She would have been heartbroken to see this. She'd raised us to look out for each other, to be each other's safety net. Blood is blood, she'd say. When the world turns its back, family is all you've got. But what happens when family turns their back too? A week passed. I'd been meeting with financial advisors, setting up trusts, learning about investment portfolios, all while maintaining my shabby studio apartment and worn-out Honda Civic. The lawyer had been clear. Any sudden lifestyle changes before the inheritance was fully processed could raise questions. I had to wait 43 more days. Meanwhile, I actually got a job offer. A legitimate one, at a small marketing firm in Silver Spring. The salary was $55,000, not great, but decent. I'd start in 2 weeks. I texted Vanessa the news, genuinely excited. For a moment, I forgot about the money, forgot about the hurt. This was my sister. Surely she'd be happy for me. Her response came 3 hours later. That's good. Salary? $55K to start, I replied. Oh. That's something. Kendrick started at $85K out of college. But everyone's journey is different, I guess. Proud of you for finally getting something. Finally getting something. As if I'd been sitting on my couch eating chips for 6 months instead of sending out applications every single day, going to interviews, networking, trying desperately to stay afloat after my entire department got eliminated. The joy drained out of me. I didn't respond. Instead, I opened my banking app again, looking at those numbers that still didn't feel real. In 43 days, I'd be free to reveal the truth. But what then? Would Vanessa suddenly care? Would her attitude shift when she realized I didn't need her anymore, that I'd never needed her? My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Anthony, this is Tanya. Can we talk? We met at a coffee shop in Colombia, neutral territory. Tanya looked uncomfortable, stirring her latte without drinking it. We'd always been friendly but never close. She was Vanessa's friend, after all, her sorority sister from Howard. I need to tell you something, she started, not meeting my eyes. And I'm probably betraying Vanessa by doing this, but it's been eating at me. She took a breath. Last month, at Vanessa's birthday dinner, you weren't there. She and Kendrick got drunk. Like, really drunk. And they started talking about you. My stomach dropped. What did they say? Kendrick said you were deadweight. Said that if you were smart, you'd have figured out how to make real money by now. That unemployment was just an excuse for lazy people. Tanya's voice dropped lower. But Anthony, it was what Vanessa said that really got me. She said she was glad your mom left her the house and you got nothing. Said you would have just squandered it anyway. The world tilted. Mom's house in Baltimore, the one she'd worked 3 jobs to buy, her pride and joy. In her will, she'd left it to Vanessa because Vanessa had the stability and means to maintain it. I'd gotten Mom's car and her personal items. I'd never questioned it, never felt entitled to more. But to hear that Vanessa was glad, that she thought I'd squander it. She sold that house 6 months ago, I said quietly. Got $300,000 for it. Told me they needed the money for renovations on their place. Tanya's eyes widened. Anthony, their townhouse is pristine. They didn't do any renovations. They went to Dubai for 2 weeks and bought a new Audi. The pieces clicked into place. Every dismissal, every condescending comment, every too busy when I'd needed help. It had never been about helping me grow or tough love. It had been about keeping me down, maintaining a hierarchy where they were successful and I was the cautionary tale. 30 days left. The lawyer called with an update. Mr. Williams, all paperwork is finalized. You can access and disclose your inheritance at any time now. The 90-day period was our firm's standard recommendation, but legally, you're clear. I sat with that information for 2 days. Then Vanessa called, which was surprising enough. Anthony, we need to talk about Thanksgiving. Kendrick's parents are hosting, and they've asked that everyone contribute $200 for expenses. Can you manage that with your new job? $200. After everything, she was still testing me, still putting me in positions to fail or feel inadequate. That seems excessive, I said. It's not excessive, it's fair. They're cooking for 12 people. If you can't afford it, just say so. We can tell them you're not coming. The words were sharp, designed to cut. Something inside me snapped. Not into anger, but into clarity. Actually, Vanessa, I need to tell you something. I'm coming to DC next week. Can we meet for dinner? My treat. Silence. Then, suspiciously, your treat? Anthony, you just started that job. You don't need to. I want to, I interrupted. There's something I need to discuss with you and Kendrick. It's important. Tuesday at 7? That steakhouse in Georgetown you like. The one where you celebrated Kendrick's promotion. More silence. I could practically hear her brain working, trying to figure out what I was playing at. Okay. Fine. We'll be there. I made the reservation under my name. Prime table. Then I called my financial advisor. I need you to prepare a full portfolio breakdown. Printed. Professional. I want to show someone exactly what I'm worth. The advisor hesitated. Mr. Williams, are you sure that's wise? Probably not, I admitted. But it's necessary. Over the next 5 days, I planned meticulously. I bought a new suit, nothing flashy, just well-fitted and expensive. Got a haircut. Had my car detailed. Not because I needed to prove anything, but because I wanted Vanessa to see clearly what she'd missed while she was busy looking down on me. They arrived 15 minutes late. Vanessa wore her usual designer everything, Kendrick in a blazer that probably cost more than my old monthly rent. They spotted me at the table and I watched their expressions shift, confusion at my appearance, my location, the bottle of wine I'd already ordered. Anthony, what is this? Vanessa asked as they sat down. This place is like $200 per person. You can't afford. I can, I said simply. Order whatever you want. Tonight's on me. Kendrick leaned back, arms crossed. Man, did you hit the lottery or something? Because last week you were asking for $50 for groceries. No, I said, meeting his eyes. Last week I was testing you. Both of you. And you failed spectacularly. Vanessa's face flushed. Testing us? What are you talking about? I pulled out the folder my financial advisor had prepared. Slid it across the table. 6 weeks ago, I inherited $42 million from my biological father. The lawyer advised me to keep it quiet during the processing period. I chose to keep it quiet longer to see how my only remaining family would treat me when they thought I had nothing. Vanessa opened the folder. Her face went white. Page after page of account statements, investment portfolios, property deeds. I'd already bought 3 rental properties in Baltimore as investments. The numbers were undeniable. You're lying, Kendrick said, but his voice cracked. This is some kind of sick joke. Call the bank, I said, sliding my phone across the table. The number's right there. Account verification. Go ahead. Vanessa's hands were shaking. Anthony, I don't understand. Why didn't you tell me? Because I needed to know, I said, and my voice was steady despite the emotion roiling inside me. I needed to know if you loved me or loved the idea of being better than me. That's not fair, Vanessa said, but her voice was weak. I've always loved you. You're my brother. Am I? I asked. Because when I called you asking for $50 for groceries, not a handout, but a loan, you told me to stop being lazy and get a job. You've spent the last year treating me like a burden, like someone to be pitied or fixed. You sold Mom's house and lied about what you did with the money. You've made me feel worthless at every opportunity. That's because you were acting worthless. Kendrick interjected, his face reddening. You were unemployed, broke, going nowhere. What were we supposed to do, enable you? You were supposed to be family, I said quietly. When Mom died, you were supposed to help me grieve, not judge me for struggling. When I lost my job, you were supposed to offer support, not condescension. Instead, you offered me $15 an hour warehouse jobs and acted like I should be grateful. Vanessa's eyes filled with tears. Anthony, please. I was trying to help. I was trying to motivate you. By crushing me. I pulled out my phone, opened the screenshots I'd saved. Here's you saying I'd squander Mom's house if she'd left it to me. Here's Kendrick calling me deadweight. Here's you laughing about how pathetic I am at your birthday party. Tanya told me everything. The restaurant felt too quiet suddenly. Other diners were pretending not to watch, but I could feel their attention. Vanessa was crying now, mascara running. Kendrick looked between us, mouth opening and closing like he couldn't find words. I don't need your money, I continued. I don't need your approval. What I needed was for you to love me when I had nothing. And you couldn't even do that. Vanessa reached for my hand. I pulled away. Anthony, please. We can fix this. We're family. No, I said, standing up. Family shows up. Family doesn't keep score. You and Kendrick, you're just people I used to know. The next morning, my phone exploded. 17 missed calls from Vanessa. 8 from Kendrick. Texts ranged from apologetic to angry to desperate. The family group chat had been a war zone before I left it entirely. Vanessa, you're being dramatic. We can talk about this like adults. Kendrick, you played us. That's manipulative as hell. Devon, what's going on? Someone fill me in. Tanya, privately I'm proud of you. She needed to hear that. I ignored most of it. Instead, I called my financial advisor and started making moves. First, I established the Lorraine Williams Foundation, named after my mother, focused on supporting single parents pursuing education. Initial funding, $5 million. Second, I paid off the mortgages of 3 families in our old Baltimore neighborhood, anonymously. Third, I started plans for a community center where Mom used to volunteer. A week later, Vanessa showed up at my apartment. She'd been crying, her eyes were puffy, her usual Polish gone. Can we talk? Please. I let her in, mostly because I was curious what she'd say when the shock wore off. I'm sorry, she started, and it sounded genuine. I've spent the last week thinking about everything you said, and you're right. I was terrible to you. I got caught up in this idea of success meaning more than family, and I lost sight of what actually matters. Why did you change? I asked. We used to be close. She sat on my old couch, looking around the studio apartment I'd kept despite the money. When I got to Howard, everyone was so polished, so ambitious. I felt like I had to prove I belonged. Then I met Kendrick, and his family had money, real money. I wanted that life so badly that I started seeing anything less as failure. And you reminded me of where we came from. Of struggling. I think I resented you for it. It was the most honest she'd been in years. I need you to understand something, I said, and Vanessa looked at me with hope in her eyes. What you said, what you did, that didn't happen because you got caught up in ambition. It happened because you stopped seeing me as a person. You saw me as a reflection of your own fears about falling back into poverty. And instead of dealing with those fears, you pushed me down to make yourself feel higher. I know, she whispered. I know that now. Here's what's going to happen, I continued. I'm not cutting you off completely, because Mom would have wanted us to find our way back to each other. But I need time. I need you to prove that you've actually changed, not just that you're sorry you got caught. And Kendrick. I shook my head. I don't think I can have him in my life. Not after everything. Vanessa nodded slowly. We're having problems. Everything you said made me look at him differently too. At us. 3 months later, Vanessa filed for divorce. She called to tell me, And I listened. She'd started therapy, was working through her issues with money and worth and identity. We met for coffee once a month, slowly rebuilding something that looked less like the relationship we'd had and more like something new. I never went back to that studio apartment. I bought a modest house in Silver Spring, started my foundation work, and found peace in helping others the way I wished I'd been helped. The money changed my life, but not in the ways I'd expected. It didn't buy me happiness. It bought me clarity about who loved me, who saw me, and who I wanted to become. 6 months after that dinner, I ran into Kendrick at a gas station. He looked smaller somehow, defeated. He started to speak, but I just shook my head and walked away. Some bridges aren't worth rebuilding. Vanessa and I will never be what we were. Maybe that's okay. Maybe growing up means accepting that people change, that family can fail you, and that your worth isn't determined by who believes in you when you're down. It's determined by who you become when you rise. As I drove home that day, past the old neighborhood where Mom raised us, I thought about that phone call where I asked for $50. Best money I never borrowed. It taught me everything I needed to know. If you believe family should support each other when it matters most, hit that subscribe button. Only people like Vanessa and Kendrick who value money over love won't subscribe. If you can't stand people who kick others when they're down, drop a comment saying family is more than money. And if you think Anthony made the right choice, smash that like button, unless you're the type who thinks success gives you the right to look down on others. Don't be like Kendrick. Be better.